So maybe you're watching or listening to this and thinking, but Jasmine, I actually want to be the face of my brand. Cool, I'm all for it. However, if you decide to do that, you're going to have to build a team. And when I say build a team, not just hiring a VA. You're going to need a full team so that you can show up as your full self as the founder. And this means freedom, self-awareness, expression. And this to me means you can be more than one thing. I'm Jasmine Bowdry, and you're listening to And This Podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of And This Podcast. I'm your host, Jasmine Bowdry. And today, y'all, I really just wanted to talk about my business journey, lessons learned, the good, the bad, and the ugly, especially for my product-based business owners. Like, we're seeing a lot of product-based businesses shut down right now, and I just want to talk about it. Like, can I be real? Can we talk? Can we have a conversation? Your fears are very valid. A lot of product-based businesses are closing right now, but that doesn't have to be you, because I'm going to give you the cheat code of what I would have done differently. And this is speaking from someone that closed their product-based business. So I'm going to give you some lessons that I learned that if I were to start my product-based business again, this is what I would do differently. So the first thing, and this isn't in any particular order, the first thing I would have done was stay behind the scenes. So I know that the gurus like to say, you need to be the face, you need to be front and center, but I literally would have stayed behind the scenes because it puts so much pressure on me to always have to show up. And in the event that I did not feel like showing up, if I didn't have the energy to show up, or if I didn't have the capacity to show up, then my business wasn't going to succeed because I was the face and I always had to show up in order to make a sale. So the first thing that I would have done is to stay behind the scenes. Let me give you an example of what staying behind the scenes looks like. I wouldn't be the one doing all the photo shoots. I wouldn't be the model. I had a clothing boutique. I would not be the model, right? Do I look cute? Yes, thank you. But I would not always be the face. I would not always be the one that's in the product shots, that's modeling the clothes, because what happens is your customers then get used to that. Your audience gets used to that. They get used to seeing things on your particular shape, your body type. And if they can't envision that outfit because it's not on you, they're not going to purchase. So if you have a product brand and you are currently the face, start trying to take some steps back. Start testing what using another model would look like. Start testing lifestyle products and lifestyle. Start testing lifestyle shots and not always using yourself. Start testing stock images. Start testing AI images. I just want you to test. Get into the flow of training your audience to see different people, to not always see you as the brand just because you're the founder. And the type of freedom that not being front and center gives you is the ability to move into other things that you love. Perhaps you wanted to get into speaking and do more speaking engagements as a founder, but you can't because you have to be the face of the photo shoot. You're not preparing your business for growth. You're assuming that it's going to always stay small because you're always the one doing every single thing. So you're not preparing for potentially an acquisition. You're not preparing for potentially having an exit strategy. You're not preparing to bring in another CEO so you can replace yourself. You're not preparing for all of the growth opportunities that you created the business for because you're still working in the business versus on the business. So maybe you're watching or listening to this and thinking, but Jasmine, I actually want to be the face of my brand. Cool, I'm all for it. However, if you decide to do that, you're going to have to build a team. And when I say build a team, not just hiring a VA, you're going to need a full team so that you can show up as your full self as the founder. Perfect example of this, Monique Rodriguez of Mael Organics. She is the face of Mael, right? acquired for large sums of millions, right? And maybe acquisition isn't your goal. However, she's the perfect example of someone that is the face of her brand. However, she has a fully functioning operational team of people that operate in their zone of genius that can run the business for her so that she can show up as the face. The second thing I would do if I were to start my clothing brand over is I would focus on drop shipping and pre-orders. Now, this method is not for every product-based business. This is specifically if you are in the boutique space, so you're not actually manufacturing or making your product or clothing. So I would focus on drop shipping. It would have totally alleviated having thousands of dollars worth of inventory just sitting. And also the pressure of having to always constantly sell it because this isn't moving, but I need to get something else to replace it, right? I need to bring in more inventory to replace the inventory that's not selling. So it's a constant hamster wheel of buying product, trying to sell the product, buying product, trying to sell the product. However, if I were to have done drop shipping first, then I am ordering from a manufacturer and they are going to package, ship everything to the actual customer. So I'm not sitting on those inventory dollars. I would still actually shoot the product or, as I mentioned, hire a model to shoot the product, right? I would still do that. And then I would put that on the website and I would have that manufacturer then ship it to the customer. So the issue with a lot of people in drop shipping is that they don't think that this is the real product. This isn't what I'm actually going to get. So as the founder, you would still actually want to order a sample of whatever it is that you purchase so you can understand the quality, you can understand how the fabric feels. You want to make sure that it's something good that you're actually selling. So I would order samples, have models shoot it, put it on the website, but then have the drop shipping company actually fulfill the orders. This will save you thousands of dollars. The next thing that I would have done is offer pre-orders. So having pre-orders gives your customers the ability to purchase something in advance before you actually release it. This allows you to get an accurate count of how much inventory you actually may need to purchase. So this is perfect for those that make their own product. Perhaps you're a designer and you're actually sketching and drawing and manufacturing the clothes. You need to know how much fabric you need to purchase. This is the perfect way to not buy excessive amounts, right? You offer pre-orders, offer a pre-order for a specific amount of time. Do not allow your pre-order to go on for months and months. Have a start date and a finish date. So by the time the pre-order window closes, you can then now go to your manufacturer. Hey, I have 1,000 orders of this specific suit, of this specific shirt, and then they can go off to manufacturing. One of the issues with drop shipping is lower margins, right? You're now sharing your margins with the wholesale company that's offering the drop shipping. In that instance, there are two things that you can do to increase your margins and your profits. One is you may need to raise your retail prices. There's nothing wrong with raising your retails. The price is the price. The next thing you can do is what's called baking some of the costs that you get as a founder, as a person running a business, baking some of that cost into your retail price. This is how you can justify having an increased price point. What does it cost you to run ads? Are you putting that into some of your retail pricing? What does it cost you to ship? Are you putting that into your retail price? What does it cost to print out promotional materials that you may be shipping? What does it cost for your packaging? Think about when you're offering free shipping, right? A lot of people are offering free shipping over X amount, or they're charging ridiculous amounts to ship. Take whatever the cost is to ship your products, put it into your retail price and offer free shipping. People like free shipping. We're in the days of Amazon. We want it fast and we want it free. Bake that into your retail price. The second way to increase your margins, especially if you're drop shipping, is to decrease your COGS. That means you might need to negotiate based on how much you're purchasing from a vendor. Negotiate your cost. If you're buying 50 units, can you get a 50-cent discount per unit? If you're buying 100 units, can you get a $1 discount per unit? Start to learn the art of negotiation. So decreasing your COGS allows you to have higher margins, right? Because you're now not paying as much. So that's the second way.
Are you a product-based business owner that's ready to scale? I've compiled my industry experience and knowledge into bite-sized resources that you can access anytime, anywhere at jasmineboundary.shop. You'll get actionable insight, advanced strategies, and in-depth knowledge on how to grow your product-based business. Visit jasmineboundary.shop today and let's take your brand to the next level. Now, back to the episode.
The third thing that I would have done is more in-person activations. People need to touch, feel, and experience your product, and they also need to experience you. So one of the things that I wish I could have leveraged more was large-scale events like Essence Fest. I had the opportunity to vend a few years ago, and I completely sold out of my products. Like literally, the racks were empty. It was amazing. There were so many people that shopped. There were so many people that supported, and just being able to have that high level of interaction and engagement with your customers, they buy on the spot. So being able to do more things like that would have allowed me to have more cash injections in my business, because people are buying instantaneously when they can see you and experience you and your brand in person. So I really wish that I would have leveraged more large-scale events while I was running my business. And don't get me wrong, vending at an event like Essence Fest is a huge investment, especially for a small business owner. So if you aren't able to do something to that size, partner in your local community. Look for different activations in your city that you can vend at. Look for some other small owned businesses that may have an actual storefront that you could do a small pop-up at. You want to get active in your local community. You want to give people an opportunity to, again, touch, feel, and see and experience your product. So if you cannot do something like Essence Fest, that is totally fine. Look for other smaller vending events. Look for things that are just happening in your city. It might be an entrepreneurial conference. It might be a Christian conference. Are they offering vending opportunities? You want to try to take part in that. Another thing that I would have done is prioritize getting media exposure to increase the brand's visibility. This could include things like potentially working with a PR agency, potentially getting product placement in magazines, reaching out to local news stations to talk about your business, to showcase your product. Those are all things that I wish I would have done as I was launching my business. Getting the media exposure and the brand visibility first, because that then leads into the next thing that I wish I would have done sooner, building a loyal community that loves you, that loves your journey, that loves your story. An entrepreneur that comes to mind that I think does this so amazingly well is Mia Ray. She has her Glamaholic brand. I believe she has a cannabis brand now. She has a hair extensions company. And the girl is amazing at marketing campaigns, but people buy into it because they are bought into her. And so if I would have gone that route where I'm just literally sharing my story, sharing my journey, then people fall in love with you, and whatever you offer them to purchase, they're going to buy because they love you. And that's really what building a loyal community looks like. That's what building a strong community looks like for me, in my opinion. It's having people that support you and your brand no matter what pivots you're making, right? They're along for the journey. They're along for the ride with you because they love and support you. One of the things that I absolutely hated when I was running my clothing brand was packing and shipping orders. I was blessed to have orders. And I don't want to take that for granted that I did have orders coming in. Things were going good. But that packing and shipping, things being late from UPS, the post office not delivering on time. I mean, it was just complete hell. And then you deal with customer service issues because something didn't ship. Where is my package? Where is my dress? I have an event next week. Absolutely zero recommendation. So one of the things that I would have done was hired a third-party logistics company. And there are several, especially I am based in Atlanta. There are several that are based in Atlanta that will fulfill your orders for you. Completely take that off of your plate if you're able to. And you may be thinking, Jasmine, I can't afford to hire a 3PL. So that's typically what fulfillment centers are called. Third-party logistics, 3PL. And so if that's your thought process, what is the opportunity cost? Like, what can you gain by outsourcing to a third-party logistics company? Do you gain some time back? Are you able to spend more brain energy thinking of new and innovative ideas and ways to promote and sell your products? Like, what are you going to get back by outsourcing this? If you're not local to Atlanta, just research 3PL companies, like literally put in Google 3PL in my area to see what happens. Sometimes you don't need to be local. A lot of 3PL companies, you can pack and ship your inventory to them and they'll house it for you. Don't think just because you're not based in Atlanta that you can't partake in Don't think just because you aren't based in Atlanta that you can't partake in these types of services. Now, there are some trash 3PL companies. So you want to make sure that you actually read the reviews. You want to make sure that they're actually fulfilling and shipping on time. So that's key. Absolutely research. Ask other small business owners that you might be cool with, right? Ask them if they're using a 3PL. Who do they use? Who do they trust? Do they like it? Some other things you want to think about is, when is it the right time? Do I start my business using a third-party logistics company, or do I see if I like shipping it myself and then maybe transitioning once I grow? I think the common misconception is most people feel that they're not big enough to have that. However, my mindset is, what would this take off my plate? So again, when I started, there weren't as many 3PL companies. So that's something that I immediately would have done and invested in, because I don't like taking the time to pack and ship. I would rather be doing something that allows me to use my creative brain versus spending hours packing and shipping orders. So just think about what's important to you. Is that something that you really want to spend time and energy doing? I know people that love packing and shipping orders. Like, they get so much joy out of it. If that's where you feel your vibe and your energy gravitates towards, then continue packing and shipping your orders. Like, do what feels good to you in your business. Now let's address the elephant in the room. I closed my boutique after 7 years. I was done. Pack it up, shut it down, close website. And you may be having some of those same feelings. You may feel like, hey, it's just time to end. I'm not as passionate about this anymore. I just really don't want to do this. Those were some of the feelings that I experienced. And I had a great run. Y'all, I ran my boutique for 7 years. Okay? This wasn't a 6-month thing. This was for 7 years. 7 is also the number of completion. I felt that I had done all that I could do and take my business to the level that I could take it through those 7 years. My brand was in a national retailer. I sold out at one of the largest events in the country, lots of press, lots of media exposure, but I was no longer passionate about running a clothing brand. Again, I told y'all I was tired of packing them orders. And once I got to that point, Then I had to check myself and say, is this something that you want to continue to do? I feel that oftentimes we don't stop when we know we need to because we feel like I'm going to be labeled as a failure. And trust me, I get it. I had those same thoughts and those same feelings like, wow, Jazz, you had your business for 7 years. What are people going to think if you stop, if you quit? But that is why I'm giving you these 6 hard lessons, because these are all things that I wish I had done sooner. And perhaps if I did them, then I would still be running that clothing brand. Who knows? And perhaps I still will open another one in the future. Who knows? But if you're at that fork in the road where you're like, do I want to keep going? Do I want to close? Really see if some of these lessons are things that can help you pivot now to continue the push, to continue growing your business, to continue on your journey. But if you're just over it and it's time for you to shift, it's time for you to move into something else, it's time for you to do this and this. At the end of the day, I learned a lot from my journey, but I also know that there are things that I could have done differently that would have helped make the process much easier. If you guys ever run into these thoughts, to these feelings, into these challenges, I want you to refer back to this episode. I want you to push yourself. I want you to over-prepare. I want you to strategize from the very beginning using these tools that I gave you today to potentially help you change the trajectory of your business. You can do it with the proper preparation and support. I'm so grateful to y'all for tuning in. I hope that this episode was helpful to you. I hope that if you are in this crossroad in your product business, know that you are not alone. And I'll see you next time for another episode of And This.
Ready to revamp your style but not sure where to start? Join my weekly newsletter for exclusive styling hacks, hot fashion tea, and essential wardrobe tips to simplify your daily dressing routine. You'll also get my free wardrobe essentials checklist packed with timeless pieces that will elevate your look and make everyday dressing a breeze. Visit the link in the show notes to get your weekly dose of style secrets and grab your free checklist, and let's reinvent your wardrobe today.